So being a 32-year veteran, I'm always hearing people say, "Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service." You know, sometimes we go out, people will say, "Hey, are you military?" We give discounts. It's not something I always ask for. And there are some people that actually take this to the extreme. You know, instead of saying thank you for your service, some people believe so much in veterans that they start their own companies, you know, surrounded just by veterans and for veterans. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's get into it. So, Brother Curtis, for the listeners and the viewers that don't know anything about you, please share away.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, Brother D. My name is Curtis Moses. I'm 33 years old. I am the managing partner for Veteran Insurance Advocates. I'm also in charge of strategy and compliance. We are a Medicare insurance agency dedicated to serving veterans and their families. I've been in the Medicare and just insurance industry for about 3 years now. My background is pretty eclectic. I actually went to school for music and music industry, so that's still a huge part of who I am and what I love to do. But in recent years, God has called me to be in service to our veterans and their families. So it's been a blessing to be on that side of things when it comes to my career, and just excited to see where this goes.
Oh man, that's amazing, and it's always good to see people. You know, like I said, you know, people always talk about thank you for your service, and you know, and but you're going a little bit deep, actually a lot deeper, not a little bit deeper. You're going a lot deeper. And what did you see in the veteran community? Was it an experience? What was it that led you to, you know, really want to put all your energy into creating a business specifically for veterans?
Well, that's a interesting story. So 3 years ago, I actually started in the Medicare space working with veterans with another agency. And in doing that, I got to get really familiar with veteran benefits, how they coordinate with Medicare Advantage plans, TRICARE for Life, VA, all the different things that veterans are equipped with after their service. And in doing so, I've accumulated a large book of business, helped hundreds of clients personally. I've trained many other agents, and due to um, disagreements, I'm trying to think what's the best way to say this, but you know, things didn't work out well with the last company, and I wanted to continue doing what I was doing and serving our veterans. So the thing that made sense to go forward with was to start my own agency with my two partners, George Crosby and Randall Ellis. Um, and we're here today, and we have a great team of uh, about 20 agents. So things are great.
So when you say agents, is that like insurance, or do you all go deeper than just insurance?
Primarily insurance. However, I have another company, Lamplight Financial Group, that's more focused on financial services and financial planning, estate planning. And a lot of our current agents are interested in also entering that world. So it's going to be a lot of crossover because just at the primary demographic of people we're working with are retired veterans. So a lot of them are at the stage of life where they are looking at their states and making sure everything is passed on to their beneficiaries the right way. So there's a lot of crossover between the two businesses.
Okay, so being a 100% disabled veteran myself, okay, so this is something separate. So you get your VA support, your VA benefits coming in, and then you all bring something different to the table on top of that, or in conjunction with.
In conjunction with. So it's not for everyone. For someone like yourself, you have VA benefits. You aren't at the age in which you are a Medicare eligible beneficiary. So there wouldn't be much that we can really help you with on that end. We primarily serve our community who is eligible for Medicare. So Medicare eligibility usually comes with one of two things, being 65 or older, or being on Social Security disability. So if you're not 65, the only other way you have Medicare is from Social Security disability. And once you're on Medicare, then you'll be eligible for Medicare Part C, also known as Medicare Advantage, which adds to what you have with your military benefits, whether that's 100% disability rating with the VA or another military benefit like TRICARE for life.
Okay. So then, in your experience, let's look at a typical veteran that's retired, that's looking for help. In your experience, what mistakes do they make? Not because they're lazy, not because they're slow, because we know veterans are not none of those things, but a lot of this stuff is because things have not been explained to them. So, in your experience, what mistakes do they actually make?
I think the biggest mistake I see that actually, can be consequential down the line, and this isn't something I see too often domestically, but a lot of our veterans who either split time overseas or live overseas, they may decide that they don't want to get Medicare. Um, because they have either VA benefits or FNP, foreign um, benefits, health benefits. So that can be an issue because depending on, in each person's situation is completely different. But when it comes to service members, if they didn't, like for example, if you did 20 years, you're eligible for TRICARE for life. TRICARE for life is the best supplemental insurance that you can have once you get to Medicare age or become Medicare eligible, because it becomes the secondary insurance to Medicare. So it covers all the out-of-pocket costs. And Medicare typically covers up to 80% of a person's medical costs, and TRICARE for Life will pick up all the out-of-pocket. So usually that additional 20%, giving the veteran 100% coverage. However, in order to have TRICARE for Life, you must have Medicare Part A and B. So sometimes a veteran, they have 100% with the VA. They're doing everything with the VA. They're like, what do I need Medicare for? So they just neglect it. They don't get Medicare Part B. If they were eligible for TRICARE for life, they don't have TRICARE for life because they don't have Medicare Part B. And oftentimes, they don't understand what the detriment of that is. And it depends on, again, like I said, it depends on the situation. For some people, that can be perfectly fine because everything they're doing through the VA is great, and the VA is taking good care of them. But for a lot of veterans that I interact with, what they tell me is, the VA is good, but you want to have options. And
Mm-hmm.
the thing with Medicare is it gives you options. It gives you that option with, VA is busy, it's taking forever to get booked for an appointment. You can go out into the city, go see a civilian doctor, and you're covered 100%, like you would be if you were to go to the VA. But you have a lot bigger pool of medical care that you can get, of course, if you're going the civilian route instead of just using VA healthcare.
Man, that's interesting. And at what age does it start? I know you had mentioned it, but just jump back on that age. At what age
Mhm.
can they seek these benefits?
Typically, that's 65 unless you have Social Security disability. If you're on Social Security disability for 2 years, then you're automatically enrolled into Medicare no matter what age you are.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to lean into it. We'll be in touch. Now,
Yeah,
being an
absolutely.
independent, because your company is independent, what sets
Mhm.
you all apart from, let's say, another insurance company?
Well, being independent just gives us the flexibility to provide more products and solutions for our veterans. If we were captive agents, for example, if I worked for just Humana or United Healthcare, I can only provide you with those plans. But the Medicare space is vast. When it comes to our military and the plans that really are made to work and coordinate with their benefits, that's a lot smaller subsect of the entire Medicare pie. But still, there are options that our vets have, and there are different benefits and trade-offs in these different plans. So being independent, we're able to have more of a variety of solutions to match with our veterans' specific needs and what they're looking for out of their coverage.
I mean, that's great. Now, life's not over at 65 by no stretch of the imagination. There's still people still have a lot more. So, what other benefits? Because I mean, we're talking a lot about medical coverage, medical coverage. Are there any other benefits out there that come with this? Let's say like a gym membership or something with a vehicle. I'm just spitballing. So, are there any other benefits that come with it?
Yes, absolutely. Generally speaking, when it comes to Medicare Advantage, the main benefits that are afforded to our veterans is that there's dental, vision, hearing coverage, uh, gym coverage. Typically, I can't say I've seen plans that didn't have it, but those are rare, where they don't have like a silver sneakers or renew active to where our
Mm,
vets get
okay.
access to free gym memberships. But what's amazing about these plans and why we exist to do what we do, and sadly, a lot of our veterans aren't aware that they can receive these benefits at absolutely no cost to them, by the way, which is the most important part of this, is that these plans don't cost veterans anything extra out of pocket. And in fact, they actually save our veterans money. They save our veterans money through a benefit, what's called the Part B give back. So most of the plans that are designed for military and coordinate with their benefits have a benefit called a Part B give back, which is essentially a rebate of what the beneficiary has to pay for Medicare Part B every month. So currently, in 2026, the Part B premium, I believe, is $202 and like 60 cents, something like that. So it's like 200 and change, and that is getting billed to them every single month, coming typically out of their Social Security check. And so if you're just on original Medicare, let's say you have original Medicare and TRICARE for life, every single month you're paying $202 coming out of your check. Now, this Part B give back, depending on where your service area is, so these differ from state to state, zip code to zip code. But for example, a state like Florida, statewide, there is a Humana USAA honor plan that has a Part B give back of $185 a month. So instead of them having to pay the full amount, they're paying a fraction of the cost because that 202 is going to be reduced by the 185 give back. So for a lot of our vets, that is a godsend because you're saving over, $1,000 a year. And if it's a husband and spouse or, wife husband combo, we're looking at thousands of dollars that are going back into their pocket every year, in addition to getting those additional benefits I had mentioned earlier. So on top of that, you're getting dental, you're getting
Hmm.
vision, you're getting hearing, you're getting a gym membership, all at no cost.
Man, that's great. Um, this is all news to me, and I'm excited. I'm decently healthy, and I'm definitely going to take advantage of it. And then beyond this whole healthcare coverage thing, you think about long term. How do the decisions today affect the veteran's family, their legacy, and then their peace of mind down the road?
Oh, I mean, that's a huge factor. The wrong decision can end up in thousands, tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars in liability later if not properly taken care of and properly structured earlier on. So, for example, the Medicare thing, if you don't have Medicare, you're paying out of pocket if you're going to the civilian side of things. And if you have Medicare, but you don't have TRICARE for life, you still have that 20% co-insurance out of pocket that you're paying. So our veterans who do have TRICARE for life, they are enjoying 100% medical coverage while paying the full price of Medicare, but oftentimes they can get and receive the same coverage with a lot of the same flexibility and reduce their costs drastically. So over the years, let's just say the average life expectancy, you say it's like 75, from 65 to 75. Hey, I'm sure most people would rather have an extra, grand to 2 grand in their pocket for the
Of
next 10
course.
years, as opposed to, you know, having that money go for no good reason in particular, just because that's just what the government pays for Medicare and or charges for Medicare. And every year that amount is typically raising because, the cost of living is raising every year. So
Hmm.
last year, the Part B premium was $185. This year it's over 200. So next year we might be looking at 220. The year after that, 240. It just goes up and up.
And then now, does the veteran have to be in the United States? I know a lot of my peers, they love the country, but they just want to go somewhere tropical and become an expat. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
does this work if you're outside of the country?
So that is a delicate question. There is, outside of the country, currently, as far as I'm aware, and I have had some experience outside of the country with Medicare benefits, most places, most medical providers are not, you're not able to use Medicare outside of the United States. Definitely, you can't use
Okay.
original Medicare. When it comes to Medicare Advantage, there are certain situations in which you can use Medicare Advantage for emergency coverage. But the thing is, it always comes down to the specific Medicare Advantage plan that you're on, and they're not all made the same. Even two plans that have share the same name, for example, like the USAA Humana Honor Give Back Plan. The Honor Give Back Plan
Mm.
in Florida, the Honor Give Back Plan in California are two different plans with completely different benefits. So it really comes down specifically to the plan that they're on. But generally speaking, at best, the Medicare Advantage plan can provide emergency coverage overseas where original Medicare doesn't. And at best, the best, I would say, benefit that our veterans are getting who have Medicare Advantage, who decide they, want to split time overseas, or, even be mostly overseas, is that they are going to be getting money back into their Social Security check that they would be paying otherwise. And our
Right.
vets who live overseas is a very unique situation for them because, in a way, it's kind of not fair. I feel like they're kind of put in a pickle because, as I mentioned earlier, in order to get TRICARE for life, you must have Medicare Part A and B. So let's say you're an expat, you want to go live outside of the country. Outside of the United States, TRICARE for life actually does cover in other countries with TRICARE overseas. But to have TRICARE overseas, you're forced to pay for Medicare, even though you cannot use it whatsoever. So, Medicare Advantage is a solution for you to be able to, of course, keep Medicare, save money on Medicare, but also keep your TRICARE benefits.
Man, that's a lot. And speaking of a lot, when people are at the retirement age, there's all these different programs. There's elder abuse right now that's on the rise. There's
Absolutely.
epidemic of people just being by themselves. So let's say a veteran's listening right now and they feel completely unsure of what they should do. How would they reach out to you all in your company?
Well, the easiest thing they could do is go to our website, www.vetadv.org, and just fill out a contact form, and one of our agents would reach out and be able to answer any questions they have, and be able to educate and empower them to make the best decision for their current situation.
And now, is it that simple? Let's say from start to finish, an individual contacts, fills everything out, hits send from start to finish. What does that look like typically?
So typically, the form is submitted. We would get a notification, depending on where they're located. We would match them with an agent who is licensed in their state. So if it's, someone that's in Florida, we would make sure an agent is matched with them who has a Florida license, and they would get the rundown of their situation. Are they on? Do they have TRICARE for life? Do you have VA benefits? Do you have both? Are you on a Medicare? Are you about to get on Medicare? Um, and then from there, let's say they do have Medicare, they are interested in a Part C Advantage plan, then we can then present them the different plan options they have in their service area and match the one that most suits their needs or what they're looking to get out of their benefits.
And that's great. And I'm so thankful that you're actually, because I've had a chance to sit down and speak with you, understand your level of intelligence, and that you are applying all of this to this program that's taking care of that 1% of America that's serving, and still continues to serve in some form or capacity. So definitely appreciate you doing that. And then say that website one more time. And listeners and viewers, I will post it up here as well, so you'll be able to see it.
Yes, that is www.vet, the VETADV.org.
Oh man, thank you, Curtis. So as we close up, what do you want people to take away? One thing I'm hearing is that there are all of these benefits that are out there for veterans, and a lot of times veterans, as a vet, we hear that. We hear benefit after benefit that's here. I think what we need to do more of is lean into people like yourself and have someone educate us on what's out there. And then we can pick and choose what we want to put our energy into, as opposed to just sitting back and allowing things to come to us, because a lot of these programs are not going to come to us. So we need to lean in. But
Right.
what is your takeaway? What do you want people to walk away with from this conversation?
I think the biggest thing is, regarding Medicare specifically, is unfortunately, this isn't something that um, our vets are really educated on when they're serving. And even if they do get some sort of education on it, the reality between when you get the information and when you have to apply it, we're talking about, it could be a 20, 30-year gap before, you actually get to that point in which Medicare becomes something that is relevant and you need to be taking action on. So that's where we come in, and we want to be able to advocate for our veterans. And, I know a question that you had brought up to me before in the past is, what does advocacy mean when it comes to what you do, and not just being an insurance agent? And advocacy starts with empowerment and education. So what we want to do is provide the information, so our veterans know what's out there and what is available to them, so they can make the best decisions for their healthcare situation. And then after they make that decision, advocacy means continuing to support them throughout, ideally, the rest of their healthcare lives, to where we are advocating for them, to the insurance companies, to their medical providers, handling billing issues, being able to help them find in-network providers, anything like that. And sometimes even it could just be having a conversation. Oftentimes I have clients call, and they're going through life things, and we just talk. So
Wow,
just to
that's powerful.
be there for people. Yeah.
That's very powerful. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart, man. Thank you for that. Thank you for, again, putting this together. And so here's the thing, veterans or family members of veterans, a lot of times we're told to suck it up and drive on when we're serving. I will tell you, don't suck it up and drive on with this. Lean into this. Contact this gentleman. Contact his company. Find out the services that are there for you to help you. Okay? You deserve this. You're at 1%. You've leaned in. You've served your country. Do not take this line down like, hey, you're no good anymore or anything like that. You are the best of the best. Okay? If you look at my channel, if you see all the information that I throw out, I am a vet. Lean into it. Get that help. Okay? If you need anything, reach out to me. Reach out to Brother Curtis. And with that being said, I hope you all have a great day. Let's continue to get that financial freedom. Curtis, thank you for being here, brother. Truly appreciate your time, and sharing all this great knowledge, because we need knowledge, and knowledge is power. Power changes things.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother, for having me.
All right, let's get that financial freedom. Y'all have a great day, and God bless.